Welcome, everyone. I'm really excited to have everyone here today with me. I'm going to actually share my screen and pop up a presentation for everyone to take a look at. It'll be much more interesting than staring at my face for the next like 40-ish minutes as we chat about this. All right, Camille, you can see this, right?
Yep,
Okay, cool.
I can see it.
Okay, amazing. So welcome to How to Create Authentic Partnerships with myself. I'm Amanda Kingsmith, and I'm from Mastering the Business of Yoga. And I just want to take a second to introduce myself in case you're not familiar with me or you've never listened to my show or ever heard of me in your life before. I'm a 500-hour registered yoga teacher. I have a bachelor's of commerce with a major in marketing. I am a yoga studio manager and a yoga business consultant. So I work specifically with yoga teachers and yoga studios to help them build their businesses. And I'm really passionate on giving teachers and studios the tools in their toolbox to lead heart-centered businesses. And I'm also the host and founder of Mastering the Business of Yoga, for short, M.B.Om. And I've been running M.B.Om for the last 5 years. I've had the chance to interview hundreds of yoga teachers from around the world, all about their stories and their businesses. And you might think like, how on earth have I done that every single week for the last 5 years? But there's a lot to talk about in the world of yoga and wellness. So really excited that you're here with me today. And I've worked with, I put dozens of companies doing different affiliate and ambassadorship programs. I've worked with a handful of companies, including OfferingTree, doing blog and podcast sponsorship. And I've seen which partnerships have been effective and which haven't, and I've learned along the way. And I want to share that with you, with all of that with you here today. And for me, partnerships are really about creating something that is going to be symbiotic or good for both members of the party, and something that's going to feel authentic. So I'm really not into like social media influencing or like sleazy marketing or just making a quick buck on something. I think it's really about looking at long-term partnerships and finding partners that work with you and your business and share the same values. And so that's really what we're going to talk about today. So like I just said, I'm going to teach you how to create authentic partnerships. And I know the word authentic is thrown around a lot, but the way that I define authentic is something that really feels like a good fit, just like I said. So something that's symbiotic, and companies where you can have these like good relationships with them. And they're not just like, here's how it's going to work. We pay you, throw this link on your website or something like that. So working to create these partnerships with companies and brands that you know, like, and trust, to help you build relationships and hopefully make more money. So this is something that you can make money with if it's something that you'd like to do. And it's just really great to have relationships with companies that you love. All right, so I've got a free workbook for you guys. So Camille is going to put the link for me in the chat, just because the keynote presentation I'm using actually makes me lose my mouse, which is a little bit strange. So she's going to pop that into the chat for me. And you can download this completely for free. You don't need it to participate in the workshop. So if you don't want it, you don't have to have it, but it is there for you. It basically gives you like essentially what I'm going to walk you through step by step, and then also gives you some opportunities to start brainstorming this for yourself. So taking the information that I'm giving you and then also putting it into action, because I think that's pretty important. You guys are giving me your time today, and I want to make sure that you come away with some action with it, and that's going to happen in the workbook. And of course, you can always let me know if you have any questions about anything in the workbook, at the end of this, or even if you're doing this later today or next week or a month from now, you're always welcome to reach out. All right, so now that we've got that, get your workbook and then turn off all distractions. I know I'm like the queen of multitasking, so I often have these things up while I'm like doing the dishes or, checking my emails or something like that. And I know firsthand that's not how you get the most out of these types of sessions. So I just love, if you can, to invite you to turn off all distractions, just turn your phone over, close your inbox, and let's just learn for the next little bit here together. All right, so now that we've done that, let's dive into authentic partnerships. And I've actually got something blocking this. I'm just gonna, give me 1 second, move this little screen out of the way. All right, so an authentic partnership is not. So this is the things authentic partnership is not. It's not putting your name behind a brand that slid into your DMs that you've never heard of before. I'm sure many of you can relate to this, like a company kind of, just ends up in your request folders and they're like, hey, I want to work with you. This is what we'll give you in exchange for this. And, if you share their products or services, then you'll make money. That might be the first step to building a relationship, but you shouldn't just be like, yeah, cool, that sounds awesome, and then putting your name behind that brand. That's definitely not going to be authentic. You don't want to be promoting a promo or discount code for a product you don't even use and just assuming you'll make money. This is not how you build trust with your audience. This is not how you build long-term relationships with a company. And this is not how you build sustainable revenue over time. You also don't want to be sharing somebody else's product or service that you've never used before. This is definitely not an authentic partnership. I think it's really important that if you are building partnerships, you're making sure that you do use the product or service, or you're at least trying it. If it's a physical product, make sure they're sending you something so that you can test it, you can feel it, you can make sure that it's something that you actually want to put your name behind. Or if it's an online service or something like that, make sure that you are getting like a test trial of it. Give yourself some time to use it and see what it's like before you actually decide to partner with them. I also don't really recommend sharing a product in exchange for a discount on their product. So one thing I said at the beginning is this like symbiotic relationship, so a win-win relationship. And if somebody is coming to you and saying like, oh, if you share our products in exchange, we'll give you a discount on our products. Okay, well, what is in it for me then other than a discount on the products? One, you should make sure you have the products before you even start, using it or going into the partnership. And you should also make sure that if you're sharing something, you're getting something reciprocal, and just getting a discount is probably not something that you're going to want to do. There might be a few instances with higher price points where this might feel like a good fit, but for the most part, I see these like pop into my inbox consistently with yoga clothes. And I just feel like it's not an authentic partnership. So a good authentic partnership is, it is putting your name behind a brand that you know and love and use yourself. So we all have those brands of things that we love, that we tell our friends and family about because they're so awesome. And those are the types of things you want to put your name behind. Those are the types of partnerships you want to build. You want to be sharing what your personal experience with the product and service has been with your audience. So and we're going to talk about this a lot more later, but this is going to be one of the best ways to actually have a great partnership, is when you use it, you know the team, you have a personal experience, and you can tell your people what that personal experience has been like. I have this cool water bottle that has a filter in it. Hopefully you guys can see this in the camera. It's got this filter in it, and I consistently tell people how much I love this. This would be a type of brand that would be great for me to be like an affiliate or a partner for, because I tell people about it anyways. I use it every single day. So it's something that I have personal experience, and I can tell people why I love it. Another way to have good, authentic partnerships is to give your audience a discount to try the product or service that you love. So this is one of the things when I'm negotiating a partnership, I really love for my audience to get something. So not only do I get something from the partnership, but my audience also gets a discount. This is also going to incentivize your people to actually use your code or use your link or something like that. You always want to be fully transparent with your audience that you're making money off of them using your code or link. So I think it's really important to always state this is an affiliate link, or I was paid to post this, or something like that. People aren't necessarily going to be upset by the fact that you're an affiliate for something. It's if you don't tell them, that's when they begin to lose trust in you. So we're working hard as yoga teachers and wellness professionals to build a lot of trust with our audiences. And we don't want to lose that trust by, lying to them or making them feel like they've been deceived or something like that. Another thing that I really love and has been really great with a lot of the partners that I work with is having regular conversations with them about how you can work together, how you can continue to support each other's businesses and brands, how things are going with the partnership. Not every partner is going to be interested in having these types of conversations, but if you can have that, that means that you're going to have a better relationship for the long term, which is really what we're looking for. Okay, so let's dive into how do you decide who you want to partner with, because this is a big question. I think we know some companies that have affiliate programs or ambassador programs and that type of thing. but how do we decide like who is right for us and who we actually want to be a partner with? So number one, only partner with companies that you know, like, and trust. This is something I already mentioned, and it's not going to be the last time. You really want to partner with companies that you already know and use. So the reason why you want to partner with these companies is because they're companies that you use personally. They're companies that you know of, that you like, you use their products and services, you know they're awesome. You share them with other people anyways because they are that awesome. So the companies that you want to create partnerships with are the companies that you're probably already talking about. And so it would feel really natural if all of a sudden you were able to have an ambassadorship or have a partnership with them. You really want to make sure that companies align with your values. So it's important to get clear on what your values are as an entrepreneur, a solo entrepreneur, or a small business, and then make sure that the companies that you're working with align with that. If the companies aren't aligned with your values, that's going to be, you know, a big no-no. And you don't want to make like a quick buck just so that you have the money. You want to make sure that these partnerships are going to be good for the long term and sustainable for your business. You also want to look for companies that you know your audience will love too. So if we go back to this water bottle example, so I love this water bottle because it's got a filter in it. It's really great for travel, but that's probably not like the best partnership for me in terms of like my yoga business. The yoga teachers that I work with are probably much more interested in hearing about OfferingTree, for example, than they are hearing about Epic water filters. However, for my travel podcast, you know, this might be something really good for me to partner with for that. So not only is it about having a company that you know, like, and trust and that you love and use, it's also knowing what your audience will love too. And if you're ever uncertain, just ask them. You can always create a poll on Instagram or Facebook or something like that and ask them what they're into if you're unsure at all. I really love working with companies that are willing to sit down with you, have a conversation around what that partnership looks like, make sure that it feels like a really good equal agreement. And of course, companies that are going to give you something in return for the partnership. So a percentage back on people buying with your code, or if they're purchasing some sort of like sponsorship or advertisement, which we'll talk about in a little bit, that they're reciprocating with that. So just again, making sure that you have a good relationship, that you're having conversation, that they're aligned with you, and ultimately that it feels good. I think one of the things we talk a lot about with yoga is things feeling good and things feeling good like in our heart, in our gut. And I think just doing like a heart check or a gut check on these types of things and trusting your intuition is going to be super important. Okay, so number 2 for picking partners. So only partner with companies that you have personal experience with. This is a big one. These are companies that you have used before, or that you're willing to use before you partner with them. So getting to know a new company and creating a partnership with them is really great. That's a great way for, you know, 2 small businesses to grow together, but you should always use the product or service before you make a partnership agreement. And if you try the product or service and you don't like it, you should not be partnering with them. Even if they're willing to like pay you to post about them on your blog or on your podcast, if you have one, or on your Instagram, it is not worth it to compromise that trust that you've built up with your audience. And always talk to companies before entering a partnership agreement. So don't sign anything, don't agree to anything until you're really clear about what you're agreeing on, who you're agreeing with, and all of that good stuff. You just want to make sure that you have, you know, felt the product if it's physical. If it's a clothing company that's looking for ambassadors, make sure you get the clothes first. Touch them, feel them, wear them, do your yoga or your wellness practice in them, go for a run in them, wash them, see how they hold up after a wash before you put your name behind like, these are the comfiest yoga pants I've ever used. You always want to make sure that you have some sort of personal experience with the companies that you're working with. Number 3, only partner with companies that are willing to reciprocate in the partnership. So this is something I've alluded to a couple times already, and it's super important. So I wrote here, only enter symbiotic partnerships. You want to make sure that there's a give and take here. So companies will offer you affiliate deals, but only offer you a discount off their products. And that's not really a symbiotic partnership, in my opinion. If you say, hey, I'm interested, but I want to try the products first, and they're not willing to work with you to get you the products, then you probably shouldn't be partnering with them. You want to work with partners who are companies that want to help you get exposure and growth too. So companies that are kind of invested in you as well. And with some affiliate programs, like let's say Amazon, for example, I mean, Amazon is a gigantic company. You're not going to get a one-on-one with somebody at like a partnership in the partnership department. They're probably not going to help you get exposure and growth, but you understand that going into it. And you want to look at like, is that important to you or is it not? And to me, like I have an Amazon affiliate partnership for websites and stuff like that for promoting products that I use and love. But those are like, Amazon's not a company that I'm like, oh, I'm in like a long-term partnership and I really want to like help them grow. It's companies like OfferingTree where we get to sit down and have a conversation about like what's new with them, what's new with me, what we're working on, how we can support each other, where I feel like that's a partnership that I'm excited about. And I know that they're invested in like me getting exposure and growth as much as I am with them. And so you really want to look at like what companies are willing to do for you as a partner as well. Partner with companies that don't just treat your partnership like a transactional agreement. So that's really what I just was touching on, is like, you want to have partners that you can actually build a relationship with, because that's what's going to be most successful when you share with your audience. And it's also going to be the most meaningful to you. So like I said before, I do have Amazon, I think it's actually called Amazon Associates. It's like their affiliate program. And I just go on and I can highlight a link for a product. And then if somebody like clicks on that and purchases, then I get a little bit back. It's a very, very small amount. But that's more of like a transactional agreement. And that one has served me fine, but it's not like a partnership that I get really excited about, like I said before. So I think if you can enter partnerships where you don't just have a transactional agreement, it's going to be a lot more beneficial. And then build relationships with people you want to work with. Sorry, I'm missing a word on this slide. Or sorry, no, it's correct. Build relationships with the people you work with. So the people that you work with in the companies you're working with, actually build relationships with them. Get to know who they are, have conversations with them. You know, you don't have to have a meeting with them every week or even every month, but having, you know, a catch up like every quarter or twice a year or something can be a really great way to make sure that things are going well within the partnership. Okay, so one of the questions I've received before is around the companies I like, know, and trust don't have partnership programs. What do I do? So one thing you can do is send them an email and see if you can set up a meeting to talk with them. See if there's the opportunity for creating a partnership or some sort of deal of which you can work together. You can pitch them on creating a partnership with you. So you can be the first person to do this. All partnership programs, even something like Amazon affiliates, starts from a small group of people sharing and creating partnerships, and you can always be that first person. So if as you're going through this, you're like, oh, I have, you know, a couple companies in mind that I really love. I use their products. I would love to be a partner with them, but they don't have partnership programs. What do I do? This is what you do. You can send them an email, find somebody who's in like the partnerships department or in maybe like a decision maker position. Send them a pitch, get a meeting with them, and then see what you can do from there. And maybe that's how a partnership program will grow and start. So how do partnerships actually work? So we've talked about how to know what partners to work with, how to decide that, but let's talk about like how partnerships actually work and what they actually look like, because they come in many shapes and sizes. So affiliate or ambassador programs are going to be the most common type of partnership that you'll probably use and that we'll probably see for the most part in our small businesses. So lots of companies already have these programs and you can just sign up for them on their website. So you can go on and just apply to become an affiliate. And then if they approve you, they'll give you a specific link or promo code, and then you receive a commission based on sales. So that's how affiliates usually work. So you share that, you share your specific link or your promo code, depending on what they give you. And then for people who click and actually purchase, then you receive a commission. So these are really only going to be successful if it's truly a product or service that you use regularly and can talk about from personal experience. I think there's just so much like partnership and influencer and sponsored advertisements going around that unless you have like a really, really big audience, it's not really going to work for you in terms of actually making money unless you're talking from personal experience. It's something you actually use and you can speak about that quite regularly. So just keep that in mind. I've tried so many different affiliate programs over the years between the travel stuff I do and the yoga business stuff I do. And the things that I've just found have been the most successful have been, the companies that I really believe in, the companies I have relationships with, and the companies that are equally invested in me. That's just how it's been. You always want to tell your audience if you're using an affiliate or ambassador link to purchase something. So I know I've said it again, I'm probably going to say it again here. This is super important. It is really important that you're transparent. I think it's actually like with social media legality, I think it's actually illegal to get paid for something and not state that you're paid for it. I don't know if they're going to chase down our small businesses, but for the sake of just like good karma and just being good people and building trust in our audience, I think it's really important to just be open about the fact that we're receiving something back if they use our link, and we're really grateful for that. People don't mind doing that. So a couple affiliates that I've had success with include Bluehost, which is a hosting company for WordPress, World Nomads, which is a travel insurance company, italki, which is a language learning platform, Amazon, which I mentioned before, courses that friends have created that I've shared. So I have, friends who have created programs and courses, and then I've had the chance to see their course or take their course and then become an affiliate for it. And that's been something that's been successful. And then of course, OfferingTree. OfferingTree I've worked with for the last 2-3 years, and they're, one of my favorite partnerships, which is why I'm here today. So I want to use their ambassador program as an example. You don't have to be an ambassador or anything like that. Of course, you can apply if you'd like to. That offer is open for you. But I just want to explain kind of how it works. So you use OfferingTree for your business. You've got maybe your website set up there, your email service, or maybe like a membership or scheduling or booking tool, and you love the service. I'm assuming you love the service if you're here today. You already probably share regularly with your friends and colleagues, other yoga teachers that you know. And so this is a great opportunity for you to apply for the ambassador program. What happens then is you receive a unique link, and then if someone makes a purchase using your link, you receive a commission. So that's how it works to be an ambassador. So you can see how I was talking about before, what it's like with a real life example. And then something that's really cool, and one of the reasons I love OfferingTree is because they give ambassadors shout outs on social media and the blog, as well as access to a newsletter just for ambassadors with marketing tips for creating great content. And I've worked with lots of different companies, and this is something that's super unique. So like I was saying before, having that symbiotic relationship is really important, and OfferingTree is somebody who does that. So these are things you can look for in different companies you're approaching. But this just gives you an idea of how affiliates and ambassadorships can work. All right, so the next thing I want to share with you is about sponsored posts. So this is a little bit different than the affiliate side of things, because the affiliate side of things is like you get your link, you choose how to use it. You only get paid if somebody actually clicks and purchases. Sponsored posts are when a company will pay you a set amount for like social media posts, email newsletter content, blog content, something like that. So you want to make sure that you're happy with the amount that they're paying you and what they're asking you to post. So you always want to check that. Check the amount that they're offering, as well as check the content they're asking you to post, because your name's going behind this. It's going to be on your website or your social or your email newsletter. And again, we want to just be very, very cognizant of the fact that when we put our name on something, that's how people think of us. So that's our reputation on the line. And it's never worth it to make a quick buck for something that will cause your audience to distrust you. And I know it's really tempting. It's really tempting to, when somebody's like, hey, I'll pay you $75 to put this post on your website. And you're like, well, what's the post about? And then I'll actually use an example we got the other day for our travel website. It's like, oh, well, we'll pay you, I think it was $100 to put this post on the website. And I'm like, oh, well, what's the post about? Is it related to travel? What are the links in it? And I was like, yeah, it's related to travel. It's about this thing. And, the company that's going to be linked is a gambling company. And I'm like, no, we're not going to put that on our website. I'm not interested in all in having our name behind like a gambling website. That's just my personal preference. So you want to make sure that you are happy and asking these questions about what people want. If it's something where they're like, it feels an agreement, then you can go ahead and move forward with it, of course. But just remember that it's not worth it to just like make money quickly, to have somebody come to your website and be like, what? This isn't in line with these people's values or anything I've ever seen from them before. And then again, you must always clearly state when you're getting paid to post something. So this is the same with like affiliates. This is the same with sponsored posts. If you're getting paid for a sponsored post, you want to make sure that you clearly state that it's a sponsored post. Okay, so number 3 that I want to talk about is paid advertising. This is kind of similar to sponsored posts, but kind of works like a little bit different with partnerships. So advertisements can be on a podcast or a blog. Sometimes companies will pay for social media space as well. So they'll ask you to do advertisements with that as well. You must state that it's an ad and that you're making money from it. It's super important. And you'll actually probably notice that Instagram has like a partnerships area where you can tag who the partnership's with. Lots of people who do this will do something like hashtag ad or something like that. On my podcast, I say this episode is brought to you in part by or is sponsored by. So it's very clear that like the episode is sponsored by this company and I'm getting paid in exchange for that ad. And ads are going to be most effective, similar to like all other types of partnership agreements. They're going to be most effective when you can add in your personal experience with the product, service, or company. So instead of just talking about like what the product is and what it does, you can do that. Plus you can add in your personal experience. Like when I use this aspect of it, I experienced this. When I use this aspect of it, you know, this was like the result from it. Like this is what it did to my business. And ads are going to be most effective when your audience gets a deal off the product or service, i.e. they have incentive to click. So this is something I always recommend if you are negotiating a partnership, is see if you can get your audience an incentive out of it. And this is something I mentioned before, and it's really good for like affiliates. Sponsored posts, it doesn't necessarily apply to as much, but any type of paid advertising where you're going to be like, hey, go check out this product. If you can get the people a deal, then it's going to be like way more beneficial for everyone involved. And then amounts paid for advertising and sponsored posts, it's going to really determine, it's going to be determined based on like the platform you're using, as well as like the size of your audience, how much engagement you get. We're not going to dive into that too much, just because we could get really nitty gritty with all of that information. You can always reach out if you have questions about like amounts paid, if you are looking to get advertising or sponsorships or something like that. But also a quick Google search with whatever you're specifically looking for will be really helpful to kind of, you know, lead you down the right path for information. All right, so how do you come to partnership agreements with companies? This is another thing that I've been asked before. So it's going to be kind of different depending on the company, how big they are, how long they've been doing this. Companies who have partnership programs will often have commission structures or pay structures for their partnership agreements. So, you know, it'll either be posted like on the web page where their partnership stuff is, where you're signing up, or when you're having a conversation with them, they'll let you know like what their standard rates are. If you're starting fresh with a company, you can agree on a commission structure or an amount that feels good for both of you. So you just want to make sure that you run the numbers on it, that it feels like worthwhile for you to be sharing. It feels like something that, you know, your audience would be excited about, that you're excited about, and obviously something that's going to be beneficial for the company as well. And then if you're pitching a company, you can pitch them an amount and see what they come back with. So if you're reaching out to them and you have an idea of the structure you want or the amount you want to charge, you can always pitch them that amount and then see what they come back with. And companies will often, you know, negotiate. So you want to negotiate in a way that feels like good for both parties involved. Again, we're looking for that symbiotic relationship, which is really like the true definition of partnership. It's just in this crazy busy world, things get so convoluted and we kind of lose these meanings of these actual words. So there's quite a few different ways to do this, just depending on where you're at, what you're looking for, the size of your business, how you want to approach partnerships, what companies you're interested in working with. You know, sometimes signing up for like an affiliate or ambassador program is literally as simple as filling out a form on a website, and then you get all the information sent to your inbox. I mentioned italki before as a partnership that I've used through the travel side of things that I do. And we actually just got an email from them, you know, updating us on their partnership agreements. And they've just offered that if you've had like really good success with their partnerships, they are willing to like increase the commission rates and stuff. And they're like, reach out to us, we can have a conversation, we can schedule a meeting. You know, that's an example of a company that's really wanting partnerships to be successful in their business and really cares about the people that they're working with. All right, so to come back to that OfferingTree ambassador program, just to give you an example of how commissions can work and how commissions do work for OfferingTree. So the commissions are, you get $50 for everyone who purchases the annual essentials plan. You get $7 per month with people who purchase the monthly essentials plan, $25 for the annual starter plan, and $4 per month for the monthly starter plan. And they've outlined that you'll receive this payment each month for the first year, as long as your referral remains a paying subscriber. So basically, if you use, so say you became an ambassador with OfferingTree, you use the link, somebody goes and they purchase the annual essential plan, OfferingTree pays you $50. If they buy the monthly essentials plan, they give you $7 per month, each month for the first year, as long as your referral remains a paying subscriber. So say that subscriber remains for like 4 months and then they cancel, you would get paid $7 per month for 4 months. So these are the types of structures you want to look at for companies that already have ambassador programs. So you look at it and you say like, okay, how does this look? How does this feel to me? Is this something I'm interested in? And then you can go ahead and apply. And ambassador and affiliate programs are always a little bit different, but it's usually kind of around the same amounts in terms of payments, and commission structures are often quite similar. I will say that having been an Amazon affiliate for many years now, their payments are much, much lower than something like this. All right, so now that we've talked about how to work with companies, what partnerships can actually look like, how do you actually talk about your partnerships authentically? Because once you actually have the partnerships, a really key piece is actually like promoting these partnerships. So talking about these partnerships to your audience. And this is where it can get a little bit tricky, because I know many of us wellnesspreneurs always feel like a little bit uncomfortable with things like sales and selling. And I want to kind of debunk the fact that you need to be like doing heavy sales for partnerships to actually work for you. It's actually a lot more simple than you think if you follow the other steps that we've talked about so far. So number one, speak from personal experience. This is a really big one and a really important one. So you want to share what the company, product, or service is about, like I said before, but you also want to share from your experience. Share what your experience has been with it. And you want to share really honestly. You know, if you tried a product or service that you didn't like, or it's not working so well, I think it's important to share that with your audience, you know, or maybe be talking to that partner about that honestly, so that they can be like improving upon that. You want to talk about the things that have worked really well for you, what the results have been, the benefits have been, how it's improved your business, all of that good stuff. You want to talk about why you love it and why should your audience use it too. So you're basically telling them what the product is, what your experience has been, why you really love using it, and then tell them why they'll love it too. And this is where it's important to know your audience. So knowing what your audience likes and doesn't like, knowing what your audience does professionally, knowing, you know, who they are, so that you can speak to them about why it would be beneficial for them to use this product. I already mentioned this, but what has been your personal experience using the product or service? This is something that people are going to want to hear about. And when you start sharing a product, it's going to be inevitable that people are going to, you know, maybe slide into your DMs or send you an email, and they're going to be asking you like, what has your personal experience been? Like, do you actually like this? This is something that I've been asked so many times, and I've shared things like, do you actually recommend this? Or were you just paid to say this? And I'm like, no, I actually recommend this. Here's why. So it's better to just share that right up front so that people know. And then I already said it before, but always be honest. Always be honest about your experience. It's super important. People really appreciate transparency, and it's not going to benefit you. If you say you're partnered with a clothing company, and say you get their clothes and you're like, okay, this sports bra is amazing. It's held up after a couple washes. It worked out in it a ton. I really love it. It keeps everything in place. And then you try the pants and maybe they pill, and you're like, oh, I'll just share about them anyways. Like, maybe that was just my experience. And you don't tell people that. and somebody goes and buys it, they're going to be upset at you because the pants filled. So it's really important to just be honest about what your experience is like. Okay, number 2, share genuinely. What does this actually mean? So 1, it means be honest. It means tell people what you don't like, what you like and don't like about the product, service, or company. Just be very transparent. And when you focus on selling, it's going to sound like you're selling, but when you focus on genuinely sharing something you love, it's going to come across that way. So you can say like, hey, I've had really great experience with this product. It's something I use every day. This is why I use it. This is the benefits I get. And then you can put the link for it there. Like if you want to check it out too, here's, a link, you can get a discount using this code. It's not the same as like putting together a sales pitch, if that makes sense. So you're sharing something really authentically and genuinely with your people. So this is why it's important to find brands and products that you use and like so that it can be a little bit more authentic. You want to allow your posts and shares to come from a place of wanting others to get access to this great service that you love. So it's kind of like, hey, I know something really cool. It's kind of like a little secret I have, and I want to let you in on the secret. That's kind of how you want it to come across, as opposed to like, launching next week is this thing that you can get a discount on. There's a difference between like sharing in a way that is wanting people to get access to something really great, this great service or product, and just selling something that you're partnered with. And then for the bazillionth time, be transparent about what you receive if they click on your link. So you don't have to tell them the exact monetary amount, but just let them know, like, if you use my link, thanks so much, I get a little kickback in return. This can be like through blog posts, social media posts, in-person conversations, et cetera, et cetera. Just always like be transparent with people if you're getting something in return. All right, number 3 is tell your audience the benefits of the product or service. So this is a really important one when it comes to how to talk about this. So we've talked about you want to share your personal experiences, you want to be really genuine with it, and let's tell them about the experience of the benefits, like what they're going to get out of it. So you want to think about what positives or benefits have you experienced from using the product. So say you're using something like, there's a popular influencer that I follow, and she uses a type of CBD oil that her and her partner are consistently talking about. And she always brings it from like the position of, these are the experiences that I've had, and these are the benefits I've experienced. So she always shares that. And then she'll share like, these are the experiences or positive benefits that you could have from it. Sharing with people. And then she shares her like code and her link, and she's popular enough that she has the swipe up on Instagram. I can share that. If anyone's interested, just let me know in the chat. I can always share her handle too, if you want to see how she does that stuff. You can talk about how it's made your life easier. You can talk about how it'll make their life easier, or how obviously you can't predict the future, or at least I'm assuming you can't. You could talk about like how you assume it would be, or how you think it might be, or how it could make their life easier. Obviously don't like guarantee results in any way, but you can let them know, like, especially if you know them personally, like, let's use OfferingTree as an example. If you're talking to like a yoga teacher friend that's like, oh my God, I just like cannot get my head wrapped around creating a website. I know I need one. I know it's like how I'm going to grow my business, but I just like, I can't. It's like a headache. I hate doing it. I put in my schedule, I procrastinate, I just don't do it. This is a great opportunity to say like, oh, well, I actually use this like platform that makes creating websites and all of the other things in my yoga business a lot easier. I think it would actually take some of the pressure off of the technology for you too, and allow you to really focus on your teaching. Do you want me to share that with you? That's a really like easy, authentic way to tell your people, tell somebody who might be interested about the benefits. And then always be honest and transparent. We've got a theme flowing through here, and it is honesty and transparency. We just don't want to be skeezy. Like, there's so much crap out there. Honestly, there's just so much stuff flying around the internet. It's so hard to know what is genuine, what is not, who actually likes something, who doesn't, who's being paid for something. And I really just feel like if you want to be successful with partnerships, you need to be like above that. You need to be honest. You need to be transparent with people so that they trust you. So where do we actually talk about partnerships? Where can we share this with our people? Well, really anywhere. Instagram posts is a great place. You can put a dedicated post talking about an experience you've had with a product or service or a partner. You can use Instagram stories to share something. You can maybe get on video and talk about what that experience has been like. You can write blog posts talking about a product or service you've used and then put your like affiliate link or code at the bottom. You can do like a dedicated partnership or resources section on your website. So that can be a really great way for people to kind of discover the different partners and resources you have. If you have a podcast or a YouTube channel, you can share it there. And it doesn't have to be a sponsorship to share something you love, especially if you're just starting out. Using like affiliates as a way to like share about something that you like, that you think your audience would like, is a great way to start making some revenue on these channels that can be harder to monetize. Facebook posts, you can repurpose things from Instagram to use on Facebook. You've got a Facebook group you can share there. And of course, email newsletter is always a fabulous way to get people, interested in what you're up to. So email newsletter is also a really great place to share about your partnerships and any products or services that you love. Okay, so big question. Can you actually make money off of affiliates and partnerships? The short answer is yes. If you share products and services that you use and love in an authentic way, you can make money. I personally don't think that unless you have a really big audience and are selling really big ticket items. So an example of a big ticket item would be like Amy Porterfield's, one of her signature courses is called, I'm totally blanking on the name of this course, which is crazy because I purchased it. It'll come to me. One of her signature courses is, a $2,000, course on how to create courses. And if you are in the course, you can sign up to be affiliate and you get actually 50% back. So if you get somebody signed up, you make $1,000. I mean, if you could get a number of people signed up for that, you could make quite a bit of money. Again, you would have to have a big audience to get quite a few people signed up because it's a big ticket item, but big ticket items will give you more in return. So I say, yes, you can make money, but you're likely not going to make a livable income off of partnership money unless you have big audience, big ticket items. But you can certainly use this as a great way to supplement your revenue. And one of the best ways to make money off of partnership is to create long-term partnerships with companies that you love and just focus on only partnering with a few select companies. It's going to be confusing and overwhelming to your audience if everything you're sharing is partnerships. If you're like, oh, I'm an affiliate of this software and I'm an affiliate of like this water bottle and I'm an affiliate of this clothing company. Oh, and I'm actually an affiliate of this clothing company too. Look at the partnerships of the products that you really, really like, know, and trust, or know, like, and trust. Look at the partnerships that are going to be the most beneficial to you, the ones you can speak the most authentically to, that are going to relate the most to your audience, and choose those. You don't have to be partners with like every partnership opportunity. So part of this is about making good decisions for your business and thinking about kind of the long term. So long-term sustainable partnerships is going to be something that I think is really important and something you definitely want to focus on. So I want to leave you with this word of advice before we go to questions. So be honest, transparent, and authentic, and your audience and community will be interested in hearing what you have to say and trying what you recommend. So when you build trust with your people, you're honest, transparent, and authentic with them, they will be interested in the things that you share, and they will be interested in trying what you recommend. So it's kind of like a little bit circular, and that you being honest and transparent is going to keep the trust with your people. Your people have trust for you, therefore they're going to want to try the things that you recommend. So don't disregard that underweaving message that I had on almost every slide around like be honest, transparent, and really look at this like long-term partnership. So not just looking to make a quick buck, but really looking to build partnerships, sustainable long-term partnerships with companies you really believe in. All right, so that was a lot of talking by me. I'm going to just stop the share. I know we've got some questions. I've seen the chat going. I'm gonna stop the share so I can go back. Hi, Camille.
Hello, I'm back. We've got some questions in the Q&A. You see those from Charmaine, or do you want me to read them out loud?
I can look at them.
Great.
I just want to check, was there anything?
Yeah, feel free to drop your questions in the chat, folks.
Yeah, was there anything else in the chat?
I didn't catch anything. Just had another question come in Q&A.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Hi, Charmaine. It's nice to see you. Or I can't actually see you. It's nice to have you here. I can picture you in my mind. Really great to hear from you. Okay. She says, what can we expect to make as a new sponsor? If you have a smaller following, example, around 1,000 followers per post, is there an average rate we should expect? In addition, what's the best way to approach brands that we'd like to work with for sponsorships? So it's the amount is really going to depend on like what platform you're looking at. And so I actually like don't really sell ads or sponsorships on like my social media. So I'm not too sure what the going rate is there, but yeah, I would just do like a quick Google search on what kind of the going rates are for things like social media. And even you could look at like YouTube as well. I'm assuming that YouTube probably works similar to podcasts, and podcasts are often like looking at CPM, which is clicks per thousand. And so looking at like how many downloads you're getting on an episode per thousand. So having a smaller following around 1,000 is like, you can definitely build a successful business and have partnerships with around that amount of people. I don't even think that's like a super, super small, like we think because Instagram's put this like very, very random arbitrary amount of 10,000 gives you the ability to swipe. And then something else gives you the blue check that like, for the rest of us little guys, we're not going to be able to be successful with this, but having 1,000 people that are, you know, following you and engaged with your stuff is like definitely going to be something that I think could work well for you. So I don't know the exact amounts, just depending on the platform you're looking at, but I would say you definitely have enough people there to go for it. And the best way to approach brands that you'd like to work with for sponsorships. So I would say if you can find like a decision maker via email, that would be a really great way to approach them. See if you can set up a meeting. But some companies are really receptive via Instagram. So it may be great to like start the conversation on Instagram, like, hey, I really like what you're up to. I love your products. I use them. These have been my experiences with them. I would love to be able to see how we could partner, and then see if you can get an email from there. So if you're having a hard time getting an email to a decision maker, or you email, they're not answering, social media could be a good place to start. So I hope that that is helpful. Oh, okay. I was like answered live and then I don't know what it did. All right. Charmaine says, I've had many sponsors reach out, but they always want me to make a purchase or pay for shipping of the product. How do I pitch a partnership that does not require this while I'm still growing my following? Yes, I have had this too. I think so many yoga teachers are getting this right now. I find it extremely frustrating that they're like, I just don't think that this is a good partnership opportunity. Like, it's not a partnership to me. It's a company that probably doesn't even make like great products. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but I just assume like if that's the way they're handling things, that they probably don't have like the best quality. They're like, oh, we'll give you like an affiliate link and a discount off of our products. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to like advertise your products if I've never used them before. And I don't really want to spend like all the money I make on your products with this like tiny discount you're giving me. So I think the best thing is like, if somebody really believes in their product, I think they would send you something. So I think just ignoring those, or if you check them out and they seem like stuff you are interested in, see if you can negotiate with them to see if they will send you like a sports bra and like a pair of shorts or something. Like, that stuff is not super expensive. And if they really want you on board, they should be willing to do that. If they're not, then I think finding companies that you are interested in, and then seeing if you can, again, like set up a meeting with somebody and then just have a conversation with them. So you don't have to show up with like a formal pitch or anything like that. I think have your pitch more be like you coming to have a conversation with them about creating a partnership and seeing if there's something that you can do over the long term. Something else that I think can be really helpful, especially when you're growing your following, is finding businesses that are around the same stage that you're at with your business. So like I've been like OfferingTree and M.B.Om have been partnered for like a couple of years now. And it's been really cool because like we were both really baby businesses when we started, and now we're both growing. And OfferingTree is like way, way, way bigger than M.B.Om is. They're growing like exponentially. with all the amazing stuff that they're offering. But it's cool because like small businesses can support small businesses. And like I said, I've worked with bigger businesses like World Nomads and Amazon affiliates. I mean, Amazon's gigantic, and other companies like that. But when you work with a small business, you can really get that more like symbiotic actual partnership. So I think looking for partners that are aligned with what you do, that your audience is interested in, that you're interested in, that are starting out. So maybe finding like, instead of these clothing companies that are pitching for brand ambassadors that want you to spend money to actually be a brand ambassador, see if you can find like, you know, a solopreneur that's starting like an ethical clothing company, and see if you can like find some interest in them partnering with you or something like that. That might be like, you know, a better way to kind of find those companies.
I will say too, from the OfferingTree side, Charmaine, you mentioned the like 1,000 followers not being that much. From the brand side, I would say the industry is very much moving to partnerships that are actually authentic and honest, like Amanda mentioned. So, yeah, we could pay a bunch of money to have someone with 15,000 followers post once about OfferingTree, but that's not going to be as authentic as an OfferingTree user saying, hey, I actually really like these products and you should use it and you're my friend, so I trust you, even if you only have 1,000 or fewer followers. So let that empower you that you can be a really effective ambassador and people will want you on their team.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that. I think that that's really great. Nicole says, do both partners in an affiliate agreement typically both have access to the stats about the use of the affiliate link? Yes. Yes. So usually your like stats on the affiliate link will be like on their back end. So just depending on how they've set it up, you'll have like an affiliate portal that you can go in and you can see the stats, and then they need to see your stats too to be able to pay you out. So there's like third-party softwares and stuff that can do that as well. Camille, actually, you might be able to speak to this a bit better than me since you guys have like set this up.
Right. So it is going to be different for every company. And there's, like Amanda said, a variety of third-party softwares. We use a software called First Promoter. So you can log in and see how many people have clicked your link, how many sales you've made, how many people have free trials but haven't started paying yet. And we can see that too. And that's just valuable for us, so we can know which ambassadors are successful, which aren't, what makes them successful. So you can both see that information.
Mm-hmm. I think it's great too to be able to see those stats, because then you can have like conversations around like what's working, what's not, you know, where are people clicking from, what are they clicking on, and then look at like from the side of the ambassador, like what messaging is working, what's not working, where are people coming from. It's cool to be able to see that stuff. And then you can also go in like with bigger companies, you can go in and be able to see like who's purchased, just to make sure like you can see when your payment's coming and all that good stuff. Robin says, I've experienced pushback with small entrepreneurs because they feel they can't afford to partner. What are your thoughts? That's a really interesting one. I feel like partnerships are so beneficial in business that I think more entrepreneurs and small business entrepreneurs should be open to it. But I mean, at the end of the day, like you can give your kind of thoughts on it and why you think it would be beneficial, but you can't force somebody into it. So if somebody's not interested in it and they're not willing to try it, because that's one thing I would say, like see if they're open for like a trial period to see if it's beneficial. And if they're not open to it, then I mean, there's nothing you can do to change their mind. And I would just shift your focus to companies that are open. I think it's super beneficial though. Camille, actually, can you speak to like how powerful partnerships have been for OfferingTree? Because I know you guys have had like significant growth just through partnerships.
Absolutely. So I will say it has been extremely significant. We actually started asking folks when they register for sites, how did you hear about OfferingTree? And heard it from a friend, and podcasts are our number one and number two, like far and away, how people discover us. And that's actually what we're investing in. And I will just say, as far as pushback, even sometimes from the brand side, I reach out to folks who maybe it's not a fit for them right now or they're not interested, but partnerships are really a long game and you never know. I don't think even if you get a rejection, that doesn't have to be a rejection forever. Even we reached out to someone, she wasn't really interested in partnering, but she said, oh, I recommended your site to someone anyway. But that's because we met with her, we were able to talk, and who knows, maybe she'll come back and want to be a partner for us. Same with that company. So the relationships you build, it might take a little while to get it started, but it'll be really fruitful in the long run. I know, Amanda, if that resonates with you.
No, 100%. I definitely resonates with me. And I think that OfferingTree is just such a great example of like a company that, I mean, like when you start out, it's like you always got to balance like what's coming in and what's coming out, right? And like partnerships are a give and take. And so you want to make sure that you're partnering with people who are actually going to share authentically and bring people into you. But I think like you guys have done such a fabulous job of like this word of mouth, where like people discover you because other people are talking about you. And now you've got this great ambassador program to kind of reward people who have been talking about you guys for the last like however long years, months,
Exactly.
years.
Sharing our success. Okay, we've got one more question in the chat I saw from
Okay.
Angie.
Yeah, Angie says, how would you approach other professionals like personal trainers or physios to work in partnership? Yeah, for sure. So I think if it's people that you know, so I mean, in like sales, that would be called like a warm lead. So somebody you already know or have some sort of like connection with or relationship with, I would just like send a message and see if they're open to having a conversation. You can just let them know like, hey, I'm looking into like ways that I can be promoting, you know, other personal trainers or physios. And I know that we've connected a little bit. I would love to like set up a time to chat with you and just see like if this is something that would work for us. It can just be very casual. If it's somebody that you haven't had any like conversation with, I would probably nurture that a little bit before just like going into like a hard sell on like, let's have a meeting together. So maybe looking at like people you follow or people that follow you and just starting a conversation like, hey, just wanted to reach out. Like I'm a fellow physio, or I guess you're probably actually a yoga teacher. So I'm a yoga teacher and I am interested in like creating relationships with personal trainers or physios so that like I can refer people who need your services to you. And, you know, I would love to just like get to know you and what you're about and kind of who you serve and that type of thing. So you can start by just like opening the door to a conversation. People are like sometimes a little bit like weary of people on the internet just because there's so much crap going around. But I think that if you just start with like a really soft, like I'm looking to get to know other people, I'm looking to see like if there's ways to refer to people in my network and that type of thing, somebody will hopefully be like open to you know opening that door back or that type of thing. And then from there you can hopefully set up a conversation. And I would just say like if you can get somebody face to face, it's going to be so much better because then you're like, hi, I'm real. Like I'm a real person who runs a real small business. And I'm like not just some bot on the internet that's like trying to take your money or something like that. So I think if you can get like a face-to-face Zoom, that's going to be, you know, huge for that. And I would just approach it from that like really like soft kind of kind way of like, I'm interested with what you're interested in, essentially. Natasha says, I've heard a lot of great things about the OfferingTree from my pelvic teacher, Shannon Crow. She's the reason why I'm here. Thanks for hosting this webinar. I'm currently getting a lot of DMs. I felt rude not answering. This has been helpful. Awesome.
Yeah, that's
Thanks
an
for being here,
example of
Natasha.
a successful partnership is Shannon Crow's recommendation. So that's one of the reasons we value our community so much. And yeah, great to have you here, Natasha. So thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Shannon Crow is a very dear friend of mine. She does amazing work in the pelvic health area. So happy to have you here, Natasha. Cool.
Any other questions? We're a little bit over time, but feel free to drop them in.
Yeah, happy to stay for a couple minutes and chat if anyone has any other questions. Can you both post your contact information? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, if you have any questions about the OfferingTree Ambassador Program, feel free to email me or I drop the link in the Slack too. You can contact Amanda.
No questions. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I'm just I'll put my website too.
Yeah, good call. And we'll share all of this in the replay video. The emails will send out, so keep an eye in your inbox.
Yeah, for sure. And feel free to connect if you have any questions. You can connect with me on Instagram or website. You can listen to the podcast if you want to hear a bit more about me and what I'm all about. Camille is an amazing, like, she works in partnerships, so she's an amazing resource for this. She knows so much about this and is doing such a fabulous job with the ambassador program with OfferingTree. Did you want to share a bit more about that before we wrap up?
Sure. The OfferingTree Ambassador Program is open to anyone, although we'd like you to be an OfferingTree user, as Amanda said. So you don't have to have a certain number of followers or credentials or anything, and you'll be able to be part of our network. You'll get those marketing tips from me. You'll get shout outs, and you'll be part of a network of other folks who are wanting to make wellness more accessible. So if you're interested, check out our products and apply. We'd love to have you. I'll drop that link one more time.
Awesome. Awesome. Montserrat says she's heard lots about OfferingTree. Lori says thank you. She loves OfferingTree. Is delighted to become an ambassador. Yay. Angie, yay. I'm glad you love OfferingTree too. Thank you so much. The link is in the chat. If anyone else has any questions or comments, feel free to drop them here. I think we both have a couple more minutes. And otherwise, just really grateful that you joined today. I hope that this has been valuable. And as you go through your workbook or as you go through actually doing this, just make sure you reach out if you have questions or anything like that.
Yeah, thanks everyone.